on a powerful all-new Dr. Phil.
How did you find out your daughter had died?
I found it on TV.
Oh, my Lord.
2 Virginia Tech students have been arrested after a 13-year-old girl was found dead.
Accused of plotting Nicole Lovell's murder.
Her mugshot looks like she has a scar going down her face. I'm pretty sure that would have been my daughter. I know she fought like a wildcat.
A warning for every parent.
Nicole had been talking to older guys. I took her phone from her.
Do you have those screenshots?
No parent should ever have to go through what we went through.
New details from the victim's family.
To think of the nightmare my baby went through.
Do you think she was abducted or seduced?
A Dr. Phil exclusive.
Sorry, it's hard to look at him.
Well, how do you feel when you look at him?
I would like to get locked up in the same cell with him. I'm pretty sure I could get answers out of him.
What have police told you about how she died? On January 27, 13-year-old Nicole Lovell's family experienced every parent's worst nightmare. Their innocent young daughter vanished into thin air, leaving her bedroom door barricaded with a dresser and her window wide open. She had taken her cell phone and her special blanket decorated with cartoon minions, but left behind her life-saving medication. Her parents and police were baffled. As troubling clues started to surface, police began to fear the worst. Was Nicole kidnapped from her room? Did she run away to meet up with an older stranger? She seemed more interested in her stuffed animals than she was in boys, but as the frantic search continued, a secret online world came to light.
A little schoolgirl vanishes from her home. Her family finds a nightstand pushed against her bedroom door.
She crawled out the window with her cell phone and her minion blanket.
Family of a missing Blacksburg teenager is pleading for her safe return home.
13-year-old Nicole Lovell was last seen about midnight Tuesday at her family's apartment.
Someone has to know something about Nicole's whereabouts.
The night she disappeared, NBC says Nicole showed a friend text from an 18-year-old man she said she was planning to meet.
The little schoolgirl tells her friends about a secret boyfriend.
The ground search began earlier this afternoon. A drone from Virginia Tech also aided in the search from the air. Nicole has taken meds twice a day since she had a liver transplant when she was just 10 months old. Her family says she has never gone this long without taking it.
She needs her medicine. Really bad.
Nicole's family says they believe someone is responsible for her disappearance, and that person is making their lives a nightmare.
This community is known for stepping up, and we need them to do that at this time as we pray for the return of a beautiful young girl.
Tragically, within days of her disappearance, Nicole was found dead by the side of the road. It didn't take long before police started to unravel what they suspected to be a twisted plot. It all began on what could have been any average night out for 2 Virginia Tech college students. The boy, an engineering major and collegiate athlete. The girl, a driven student who interned at NASA, ate at a restaurant, then went shopping like any normal teens. But prosecutors say they weren't just hanging out and running errands. They were allegedly plotting Nicole's brutal murder and then buying the shovel they eventually used to bury her body.
A shocking murder case in the state of Virginia where 2 Virginia Tech students have been arrested after a 13-year-old girl was found dead 3 days after she went missing.
Missing 13-year-old Nicole Lovell's remains were found by police today. They say that her body was found in Surrey County, North Carolina, near the state's border.
My daughter, Nicole Lovell, Coley is what we called her, had a passion for pandas, music, dancing, dreamed of being on American Idol.
Virginia Tech University students David Eisenhower and Natalie Keepers were arraigned in connection with Lovell's murder.
A murder mystery that has puzzled investigators.
Nicole's connection to Eisenhower and Keepers may be social media. According to NBC News, Nicole was active on Twitter and a Facebook forum called Teen Dating and Flirting.
Eisenhower used this relationship to his advantage to abduct and then kill her.
At the Maryland High School, where he was a star athlete, his former principal said the teen fit in like any other student.
Very goal-driven, focused on his academics, but he also was very focused on running.
Prosecutors spell out alarming new details about the killing of Blacksburg teen Nicole Lovell.
Commonwealth's attorney Mary Pettit said Natalie Keepers killed someone she never even met because she wanted to be part of something secret and special with David Eisenhower. She says the two plotted and planned, even sat inside a Blacksburg restaurant to bounce ideas off each other long before Nicole disappeared. The plan, Pettit said, was to lure Nicole Lovell out of her house under the guise of a date with Eisenhower and take her to a remote location where he would kill her. At one point, they bought a shovel and picked out the location for the killing.
Did one lure the little girl online, the other mastermind dumping her body by the highway like she's trash.
Prosecutors say Eisenhower stabbed Nicole to death. Then Keepers helped load her body into the trunk of Eisenhower's Lexus to dump it. Pettit says they drove to a Walmart to buy cleaning supplies.
13-year-old Nicole Lovell was laid to rest today. A large turnout as family and friends gathered to remember Nicole and say their final goodbyes.
Nicole touched many people throughout her short life.
You may have noticed that we have no studio audience today. This is due to the very sensitive nature of this story and how fresh this tragedy is for this grieving family. Nicole's father, David Lovell, is here today in an exclusive interview, speaking out for the first time since the tragic loss of his daughter. One thing you won't hear me say today is I know how you feel.
Yes, sir.
Nobody can, right?
I don't even really know how I feel. You know, how lost can you be when you lose your youngest daughter, especially to the way my daughter was taken from us.
What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you saying to yourself at this point?
Well, I was asked the other day, when is it time for Dad to mourn, you know, the loss of my daughter? I said, you know, I'm constantly mourning, but I have to stay strong for my other kids and my family. But as far as feeling on the inside, just a shell of a man. There's so much heartbreak and regret, you know. All the good memories that me and Nicole had, all the bad memories that me and Nicole had, you know, they all kind of run in together. You know, it's always the thought in the back of your mind, well, what if I would have been more there, more into her life, you know, more of a part of her life? I'm going to stop this.
How did this happen? How in the world did you go from what we're seeing right here to her being taken from this world? How in the world did we get in this situation?
Now, see, that's what I'm asking myself. How can it go from, you know, me and my happy little girl, you know, to, hell, she was murdered a few days later, you know. I talked to her, it was about a week before she went missing, and everything was normal, you know. She was, you know, my little baby girl.
No signs?
No, not to me. There wasn't. This social media and the kick and everything, even the things they teach in the kids in school seems to be making them so smart that if they want to keep their parents out of it, they can.
She was still a child.
Yes, sir.
I mean, this bear that you have, she loved pandas.
She loved pandas. And actually one of her best friends, Natalie, gave this to me at Nicole's viewing, you know, to keep with me as a reminder of Nicole.
Did she ever talk to you about having a boyfriend or anything?
Not to me. When she talked about having a boyfriend, it was a joke. You know, she was kind of like, Dad, you know, I have a boyfriend, you know, this and that, because she knows, you know, she was my baby. You know, if she told me that she had a boyfriend, you know, I would just thought she was joking because she's not going to admit that to me.
Right. She was 13.
Yes, sir.
This little girl had fought off death more than once.
Oh, yes, sir. She was a miracle child. She was. I did not think that she would make it to her 5th birthday.
Right. And why not? What was wrong with her?
Well, she had her liver transplant.
And why did she have to have a liver transplant?
When she was born, her liver was deformed and it was on the outside. And after that, She had MRSA.
She had a tracheotomy scar.
Yes, sir.
And when was the tracheotomy performed?
It was during the liver transplant.
Did she ever talk to you about it? Did she ever say, why me? Why do I have to go through this?
Not really. I mean, she would talk to me a little bit about being bullied.
What would they bully her about?
Her scar, her trachea scar. And because of some of the medication, you know, I mean, she was a little heavier.
So how did it affect her when they did that?
Try to explain to her, girl, you're beautiful. I mean, you know, I done what any dad would do. Tried to talk my daughter up as high as I could because I know that she was an angel.
Right.
You know, and kids can be mean.
When she left, she took a small suitcase with her.
As far as I know, she took...
She had a blanket.
A few things, yes, sir. I do know she had the blanket with her.
And tell me about that blanket.
I mean, it was, you know, a Smile Child's blanket, a Minions. It was a Minions blanket, kind of like a blankie.
And when she goes out the window, she takes that blankie with her.
But she did not take her medications. That's the big question in my mind.
Was she responsible about taking her medication?
She knew that her medications is what kept her alive, yes. Like 7:15 in the morning, 3:15 in the afternoon, and then another one before bed at night, you know, for her liver transplant.
Right.
Anti-rejection medicines.
So she knows, even if she's like going off and thinking, I'm just going to go have this wonderful love connection, love tryst or whatever, she knew, I'm going to have to get back for my medicine.
Exactly.
Or I'm not going to be very good company by afternoon.
Exactly. And by nighttime, she's going to start convulsing, going into a coma type situation.
Does that tell you that she predicted being back in time to take the next dosage?
That's what I think.
Do you think she was abducted or seduced?
I do not know. That's a good question. You know, a girl with self-esteem issues anyway, if somebody told her some good things about her, of course it would be easy to seduce, you know, a bullied little girl.
This young man that's accused of taking her life was older.
Yes, sir.
And in college. Would this be someone that she would be vulnerable to his attention, that she would be vulnerable to his affections, that he could turn her head?
Honestly, sorry, it's hard to look at him.
Well, how do you feel when you look at him?
I would like to get locked up in the same cell with him. I'm pretty sure I could get answers out of him. I mean, you know, took my little girl. We found out that Nicole had been on social media talking to inappropriate people, talking to older guys, which you could tell these older guys had fake profiles.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil, her teenage child became a mother.
They took my daughter away from me.
You're saying the government basically kidnapped your child.
They could have helped us, but instead they ripped us apart.
Now,
you're very critical of the woman that has adopted your baby.
She looks like a stripper.
this outraged mom
She's a pathological liar, and she's a horrible role model for my daughter.
wants her baby back.
She doesn't see her as a daughter. She sees her as a trophy, and she likes to keep her trophy shiny.
Why are you attacking this woman?
We can't question her. We can't judge her.
You're very upset.
Because you lied. That's my problem with you.
I'm going to stop this right now because you are so self-destructing here.
That's tomorrow.
2 Virginia Tech students are now in custody in connection to the death of Nicole Lovell.
Police say Eisenhower knew Lovell beforehand and planned her death.
Do you have any doubt that it was him?
In my mind, I don't know. I know he played a part. I'll go that far. As far as who was the mastermind, who planned it, you know, there's rumors, but I don't know. But I know that there was some connection.
How did you find out that she died?
I found out on bed. I found it on TV.
Oh, my Lord.
Now,
I
can't say anything about the Blacksburg Police Department, Virginia State Police, or the FBI about that, because that was simply a screw-up. They simply forgot, basically, to let me know that that was coming out in the news conference. They did. They explained. They apologized and said it would never anything like that happen again.
You knew she had been missing?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we knew 3 days. As soon as she went missing, Nicole's mother, Tammy, had called me at like 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't even know if she had called the police yet. She said the only thing that they knew was Nicole had been in contact with someone named David. My name's David. So they immediately called me.
So how did she find out she was missing? Did she tell you?
She went in to give Nicole her morning dose of anti-rejection medicine. There was something blocking the door, but when Tammy went in, the window was open. She realized Nicole was gone.
So she had to push the door open?
As far as I know, yes, sir.
And she thought, oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
This can't be good. Whatever happened, whether somebody came and got her or she went out, this is not good.
Because the temperature that night was 21 degrees, 22 degrees, something like that, you know. So I'm sure Tammy did completely freak out, especially only thing Nicole took was a blanket and maybe a long-sleeve shirt.
When Nicole's mother called you, did y'all's mind immediately go to this social media?
Yes, sir.
Did either of you ever talk to her about being on the internet?
It was addressed before Christmas, actually. We found out that Nicole had been on social media talking to inappropriate people. For a 13-year-old little girl, I thought some of the things that were said was inappropriate from my daughter. So Nicole's phone was supposed to be taken, disposed of, whatever. Any kind of contact with anything. And obviously.
So this was right before Christmas?
Yes, it was. The last time I saw Nicole was December 19th. It was the last time I saw her alive.
What sites was she on that caused you to be concerned?
Kick was the main one.
She was on Kick then in December?
Yes, sir.
You know, we're talking about Kick, and so people know Kick is a popular messaging app. Law enforcement officials say the trouble with it is it shields the user's true identities, and it's used by 40% of American teenagers. What did you and her mother see that caused you concern? You said some of the things she was saying you didn't like.
Of course not. I mean, no father wants to see things like that coming out of their daughter. Talking to older guys, which you could tell these older guys had fake profiles. They were pretending to be young guys.
How could you tell that?
Just by the way you can tell a fake picture on the internet. I mean, you can from a profile. Some of the things they said were way too grown up for the picture they had.
It's obvious to you, but was it obvious to her?
To Nicole, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And how did you see it? Did she show it to you? Did you?
Well, over Christmas, I took her phone from her and looked at it. When I saw it that way, my daughter in Ohio had dug around in Nicole's Instagram accounts and Kick and so on, and she screenshotted me a few of those, you know, and let me know, hey, Dad, you know, my little sister's screwing up here. Y'all need to do something.
Do you have those screenshots?
I'm pretty sure.
I would love to see those. They would be such powerful teaching tools.
They would.
For parents in America.
That's my mission, you know, to heck with the dad that lost his daughter. That's not the point. I want to get out the word for the next little girl that might get in this situation or the next dad that might lose his daughter. You know, let's shut this down so it don't happen again.
I don't say heck with this dad that's lost his daughter. You matter now. This isn't just a teaching tool. You matter now. What did you see in those messages that made you think of that the minute she went missing?
It was him and her girlfriend, boyfriend, she found out, killed my daughter.
So you don't know yet, in your mind and heart, whose hand she actually died in.
This February, beautiful twin sisters.
These two needles are like my children.
Hitting rock bottom.
You said we're out hooking for drugs, and we get more because we're twins.
I would do anything to have them back. But they can't.
Oh, my God. Do not make excuses for these girls to their sisters.
More emotion. More surprises. More drama. And we're just getting started.
I had a traumatized 3-year-old girl saying, my daddy hurt me.
Where is he gonna hurt you at?
A child does not say those things unless she was coached.
You cannot coach a 3-year-old. Ask anyone.
That is coaching.
I came here to help my daughter, and you turned this into a giant circus.
I'm done.
The little schoolgirl tells her friends about a secret boyfriend. Is critical evidence located inside the perp's car.
They were sleigh riding in the snow in the back on the hill, and she was talking about this boyfriend she had that was 18 and went to college, and his name was David, and showed some text messages off of Kik.
What did you see in those messages that made you think of that the minute she went missing? What was in those messages that made you go, that social media, this older guy?
Well, that's it. I mean, she would not have had contact with any older guys, especially without social media. And I don't really know how to say it, but for my daughter to just run away, that's not my daughter. You know, it almost was instantly, you know, something had to have happened.
Why would this young man that is alleged to have killed your daughter, why would he do that?
I don't know. Was him and her girlfriend, boyfriend, she found out, killed my daughter. I don't know. You know, that's one thing. Were Nicole and this boy having some sort of relationship, some sort of talk, some sort of contact? My daughter, Nicole, you know, wanted to report it or something to that effect, and they killed her for that. I don't know. It's just so hard to fathom, you know, how two people could do it at all, much less trying to make sense of it, to think of the nightmare my baby went through.
So you don't know yet in your mind and heart whose hand she actually died in?
No, sir.
You know, one theory, as hard as it may be to hear, is that this alleged predator that's alleged to have murdered your daughter had a relationship with her where he had raped her and murdered her to cover it up.
That's one detail that I don't know. I do not know. Nobody,
that's all allegation.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I do not know about the sexual anything. They have not told me. No one has told me. Whether it happened, probably.
Yeah, that's one possible motive.
Most definitely.
You know, but and again, these are all allegations.
Exactly, and there's so many unanswered questions right now that I don't want to speculate too much, because then I'm just going to drive myself crazy.
Evidence alleged is that this had been planned for a good while.
That's what I'm hearing, yes, sir.
This was very premeditated.
Yeah, and from what I'm hearing, you know, months they've been planning this.
What have police told you about how she died? What was her likely reaction at the time?
I bet she fought like a wildcat. The keeper's girl in her mugshot looks like she had a scar. That would have been my daughter trying to fight it back. The plan was that my daughter's dead.
And do you know if that was done?
My daughter, Nicole Lovell, Coley is what we called her. She was born May 3rd, 2002. Coley had a passion for pandas, music, dancing, dreamed of being on American Idol someday. Her favorite color was blue. Nicole was a very lovable person. Nicole touched many people throughout her short life.
Nicole's mother, how is she doing?
She's broken. Nicole disappeared from her place. So Tammy is, I mean, she's completely devastated.
What have police told you about how she died?
Well, I know she was stabbed. And I know that they even said this in court, that the plan was for him to cut Nicole's throat, to cut my daughter's throat. That's all I know. Take her to some spot in Montgomery County and cut her throat. Montgomery County, Virginia.
And do you know if at least that was done?
I know her throat was not cut. But I do know she was stabbed to death.
David, I'm so sorry. I'm just...
At the funeral home, when they brought her to the funeral home, I couldn't look at her body. I don't want to know where she was stabbed. You know, I don't want to know if there was any kind of... How does the dad say this? Of what my daughter went through. You know, I know that she was murdered. And I know that I want justice for that. But as far as going in and seeing the wounds and so on, I'm not man enough to handle that. I couldn't be as strong as I am right now if I would have seen that.
Knowing your daughter as you do,
yes, sir.
What was her likely reaction at the time?
I bet she fought like a wildcat. I mean, she's my kid. I know she fought like a wildcat. The keeper's girl in her mugshot looks like she has a scar right there. You can see it in those pictures right there. You can see the scar going down her face. And I'm pretty sure that would have been my daughter trying to fight back.
Don't know if that's from her or not.
I do not.
It would certainly indicate that you wouldn't be surprised if that was from your daughter.
No, sir. No, sir. She would not have gone out without a fight.
You were in court.
I was.
What happened in court?
I didn't take my eyes off of her. I wanted every reaction from this girl.
You looked at her pretty hard.
Oh, yes, sir.
And what did you see?
If I could have killed her with my eyes, I would have.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil, Mom wants her child back.
You're very critical of the woman that adopted your baby.
She looks like a stripper.
She's allowed to party, to be with other men, but she's never with my daughter.
That's tomorrow.
You were in court.
I was.
What happened in court?
At the bond hearing for keepers, well, they brought her out, and the lawyers, you know, of course, they gave a spiel as to why, you know, this girl deserved bond. And, you know, I was just awed by the gall of these people to even ask for bond. And, all right, for an example, one of the reasons why she stated she needed bond was because she wasn't getting her gluten-free meals in jail. I wish I gave about her gluten-free meals. She said in court that she had battled with depression, that she was in some counseling at Virginia Tech. You know, she had been bullied as a kid. What I want to know is how in the hell did that make her feel bullying my kid? Wouldn't that be a reason to help my daughter through this, not help end her life?
Did she actually speak in the hearing?
Yes, sir.
Keepers took the stand as she pled for bail, describing how she thought about suicide in 8th and 9th grade and started cutting. A psychiatrist prescribed medication for anxiety attacks and depression. Part of her argument for requesting bail was the jail is only giving her half the prescribed dose.
They said that they had cut her depression medication in half while she was in jail. I mean, what's the issue? She's in jail for murdering my daughter. I don't give a damn how depressed you are. You're good. Be depressed.
Were they basically offering testimony as to her good character?
Yes, where she had never been in trouble before, and she was such a good student, and she was a NASA intern.
She had been part of some club? A Disney princess?
Or something like that. I was so mad even to see this girl asking for bond.
It was reported that her lawyer stated that she had been a Disney princess, and that when he said that she laughed out loud.
I'm not sure. She was, you know, on the other side of the courtroom. And I really didn't hear her laugh. Every time she looked at me or Tammy or my wife, she would look down. I didn't take my eyes off of her. I wanted every reaction from this girl.
You looked at her pretty hard?
Oh, yes, sir.
And what did you see?
If I could have killed her with my eyes, I would have.
Does she get the gravity of what she did?
I believe that she has regrets, kind of, for what she did, but they did not realize what they were doing when they did it. She looked just like that, right there, through court the entire time. She would smile She would giggle sometimes, or she would look completely, devastated sometimes.
If you're charged with the death and disposal of a child's body, what would be the occasion to giggle?
Exactly.
What would she giggle about?
I have no idea. I mean, it was like pouring salt on a wound, I wish that the girl didn't have a right to smile, period. I don't care why she was giggling. There's nothing that's not sick and twisted about it.
She is reported to have made the statement that being involved in this murder, she felt that she was involved in something, quote, secretive and special, close quotes. What's your reaction to that?
I think it's a sick, twisted outlook on anything, especially the murder of another human being, much less the murder of a kid. Why in the hell would you go kill a kid? It makes no sense, Dr. Phil.
Did her parents speak?
Her parents did speak. My heart goes out to their parents, to Keeper's parents, because the dad got on, and he was truly, you could tell that he was awestruck by all this. They were completely in the dark. And, I mean, he's lost his daughter, too.
Did they show empathy for you?
No.
But yet you have empathy for them?
I'm a bigger man than they are, I guess.
Well, Nicole's stepbrother, Levi, is just 1 year older than Nicole. Was he also on this Kick app? I'd like to know what he knew about his little sister's private online world when we come back.
No parents should ever have to go through what we went through. I just thought, she would be found, come back home.
If you are going to be in the Los Angeles area and you would like free tickets, go to drphil.com and click on Be in the Audience.
Or you can call 323-461-PHIL. That's 323-461-7445. Well, I'm so glad to meet the two of you and so terribly sorry for the occasion. Levi, I know you miss your sister.
Yeah.
Has it sunk in that she's gone?
Yeah, it sunk in the day that she went missing.
What was she like?
She was wonderful. I mean, she was my little sister. We used to play and run outside and everything, and ride four-wheelers and dirt bikes and everything else.
Yeah. When she went missing, what did you think?
I just thought, she would be found in somebody's apartment or come back home.
Did she ever talk to you about this guy that she was talking to on Kick?
No, the last time that I talked to her was the 19th of December.
And are you on that app?
I deleted it as soon as I found out.
What was she like to be around?
Nicole was a joy all the time. No matter if you were down, if you were having the worst day in the world, Nicole could pick you up and, your day was bright again. She loved life, period, and anything in it. She loved to go shopping. Me and her, I'm not really a big shopper, but she, anytime she was around, that's what she wanted to do. Let's go to the mall, let's go get her hair, whatever.
Did she ever tell you about any boyfriends or anything?
Back, around Thanksgiving, she actually messaged me and said that she was being bullied at school, and there was a few girls that were picking on her because, she was a little overweight. And I basically did what any mom would do. I tried to build her up, tried to tell her, Nicole, you're so much bigger than that. You are smarter and beautiful. She was a gorgeous little girl. She had a lot of self-esteem issues. The little girls picking on her at school didn't help that at all.
What do you think about these kids that were bullying her at school?
Kids are mean, but I don't think that they realize the damage they do to each other when they do bully or when they do pick on someone.
There are kids sitting there knowing, I bullied this girl. It affected her self-esteem, which made her vulnerable to being manipulated. And let me tell you, if your child is one of those people, you don't want to be in denial about that. You need to pull your head out of the sand and recognize that your child might be saying, My God, I bullied that poor girl. That made her vulnerable to some predator, and now she's dead. You need to help them face and deal with the gravity of what role they may have played. That child may be really feeling a lot of guilt, not ever having thought that this could have happened. What do you want people to learn from your sharing Nicole's story here?
Keep an eye on your kids. I mean, it's simple. It's not that hard. Keep an eye on their phones, on their computer. Any kind of social media they might have their passwords. You know, I'm not saying keep your kids away from everything, but at least be able to monitor what they are doing.
No parents should ever have to go through what we went through, and it was all preventable.
If you could roll the clock back, what would you do differently in this situation?
As soon as I heard about the social media apps and so on, the inappropriate things that were going on, I would have taken her phone, I would have put her, you know, I would have locked her down. And, you know, I would have grabbed her up and hugged her and told her, you're so loved, you know, you don't need to be worrying about all these boys, and you're beautiful as who you are. And so many regrets I wasn't there for her when she needed me. There's no way to roll back the time.
Do you blame yourself for this?
I point a lot of blame at myself. Yeah. Yeah. As if I would have been there, maybe she wouldn't have went looking for acceptance from older guys. I mean, there's regrets I'll have and I'll never get over it. There's no amount of punishment for those two can give me my daughter back.
We do have a statement from KIC. KIC cooperates with law enforcement to combat child predators anywhere in the world, either upon provision of a court order or in emergency situations such as this one.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil, Mom wants her child back.
You're very critical of the woman that adopted your baby.
She looks like a stripper. She's allowed to party, to be with other men, but she's never with my daughter.
That's tomorrow.
Want to get something off your chest? Sign up for the drphil.com community and weigh in on your favorite episodes and share your personal stories with other community members. Plus, get started on your own blog to share your thoughts on the topics that interest you most. I'll be reading those message boards. Log on to drphil.com today. We reached out to attorneys for David Eisenhower and Natalie Keepers. We did not receive a response before our broadcast deadline. I know that you haven't been there for your daughter as much as you would like, but you know that you've always had the best intentions, even if you didn't have the best outcome. You've never been anything other than a loving force and a soft place to fall for your children. You got to give yourself that. You said you have to be strong right now for your family and your other kids. I learned a long time ago that old saying, big boys don't cry, but men do.
Yes, sir. That's a fact.
You've got other children, and they don't need part of their father. They need all of their father.
Yes, sir.
They need their father's tears. They need their father's joy. They need all of it. You don't need to pretend. You got a wonderful young man down here. I mean, look at him. He's bright-eyed. He's bushy-tailed. He's healthy. I mean, Levi's a good kid. And you're not fooling him. Do you think he doesn't know that you're dying inside?
No, he knows.
Of course he does. And you need to show him that it's okay to hurt. Right. It's okay to be angry one day. It's okay to cry one day. And, look for the good things that are still there and celebrate her life. I don't like to spend time on the ugly and the perpetrators without celebrating the victim. This is just a wonderful poem that was written, and you wanted to read that, and I wish you would take a minute and do that.
Okay. I am with my Lord now. Although my time on earth is through, I will forever be in your heart. No more tears for me, you see. We will never be apart. I will walk among angels now. This is just amazing to see. No matter what, I want you to know one day you'll be with me. I may be gone, and this makes you sad, but know that I will always love you, and I'm with my Lord now, Mom and Dad. And that was from Justice for Children Without Voices charity by Anna Lyle and Misty Staples.
Some of the children that she knew wrote such, beautiful things. Nicole will always be my bestie. We love her. We miss her. Kaylee wrote that. You'll be in my prayers. Bree wrote that. Nicole was a beautiful soul. Maggie wrote that. Here's another card. She loved pandas.
Yes, she
did. The panda card, and so many of her classmates all signed that. I want people to remember how many people loved and cared about her.
Sir.
So I want to thank Nicole's family for bravely sharing their story. And listen, it's not spying on your children. It's not being intrusive to plug in and know what's going on. These days, you have to know where your children are all the time. They can be back in their bedroom. You think they're doing their homework, but in fact, they're online talking to people that they may not know. You're not the only voice in your child's ear, so you need to make sure you are the best voice in your child's ear. Our thoughts and prayers are with Nicole's family, and we wish them peace and healing. Now let's remember this beautiful, vibrant little girl who was taken away far too soon. Thanks for watching.
Coley had a passion for pandas, music, dancing, dreamed of being on American Idol someday.
She fought so hard to get to this point in her life, and it's just heartbreaking.
Her favorite color was blue. Nicole was a very lovable person. Nicole touched many people throughout her short life.
Remember her as the happy child she was, the girl that everybody loved.